rounding the bases on a few different topics. And we're going to begin with what's coming to Las Vegas this week. This is what initially drew me to reach out to him for the first time here on SportsWrap Daily, joining us virtually via satellite, Mr. Jonathan Von Tobel, host of Money Moves over on VSiN. You might hear him on Sirius XM Radio. You might hear him on ESPN Radio. You might see him at a recording studio around town, or who knows. Jonathan, man, thanks for joining us, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. You know, it's been cool the last couple of years to not only have the NBA Cup out here, to be able to go out. I've gone to a couple of them. So as many people would say, you know, I don't think a lot of people love the addition to the Cup, but we here in Vegas benefit from it. So happy that it's here.
Happy that it's here. I saw that you were a hoops guy, and I said, "Oh, wait a second, let's connect," because it's kind of like fraternity. It's like, "Oh, wait, no, that's my guy." No, we're alike. We're much more alike than we are different. And the little bit of news I alluded to when we first got on the call was that I just saw, I want to credit Mick Akers over at the Review Journal, a story post that says some other cities might be vying to host the Cup. Have you heard any of that? I want to say these rumors popped up last year. I was not able to deep dive and comb that article. I will later on, but since that's brand spanking new, and I'll just toss that out there. What are your thoughts on that? I've grown to like this thing being here, but I understand why other cities would want it.
Yeah, I'm with you in that. Like, I can understand maybe if you'd want to expand. You know, the NBA's fingerprint out here at Las Vegas is pretty sturdy. They have the Summer League, and the Summers, obviously, that's not really going anywhere anytime soon. And then, of course, now expanding out to the NBA Cup. And it is an event, and I think they're trying to make it into a little bit more of an event. So trying to get other cities involved is going to be pretty interesting. You know, I'm curious of those other NBA cities, or are those NBA cities that already have teams. You know, is this going to take the form of an all-star type thing where, hey, you know, every year we're going to have our all-star game in a different city of an NBA arena? I don't know if that would be the case, because it kind of takes away and just makes it like another all-star type festivity. So I would say, selfishly, I think it should stay in a spot like Las Vegas, gives it a true neutral feeling. But either way, I think that it makes sense. Look, they want to make money, and doing that by expanding it to other cities that are a little bit more accessible for some NBA fans, I think would make some sense.
Yeah, I wrote a story this summer when they were out here after the Board of Governors press conference, just detailing how I was like, it appears they're pumping the brakes on domestic expansion. Since then, we've heard that the relocation might be favored in terms of getting teams in different markets. But I guess that this NBA Cup is a decent vehicle to introduce the game, see how it's received in different markets. And if I had to guess what cities that maybe didn't have a team and are trying to get their hands on hosting the Cup, maybe a Seattle, you know, that definitely wouldn't shock me. But interesting concept. Yeah, we'll move away from there just because we are glad that it's here. And matter of fact, quick story time, I was at the NBA Con convention, the one-off that they did a couple summers ago, and that's actually where they revealed the NBA Cup. And I shot some video down there. This was when they were still calling it the in-season tournament. We didn't really know what direction we were going with there. And since then, this thing has created a new life. For one, let me know, I think that the play has been more competitive, more entertaining during Cup games versus the non-Cup games, especially in the early parts of the season. Do you feel the same?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think you can see it. Like, the competitive nature is there. The intensity, I think, is there. You know, from a betting standpoint, you kind of see it as well. You know, we get these now knockout games that are coming up. Those games are getting bet under because the thought by a lot of bettors is that these are going to be slower paced, competitive games, you know, much akin to the postseason. In the postseason, we talk about it all the time. Pace slows down, scoring goes down because they're just taking this a little bit more seriously. They're a little bit more meticulous, with the way they run their offenses. And we're seeing that in some of these Cup games. So I think the players are kind of buying into what this is. I think it's much like, I think the play-in, when it first got introduced, I think a lot of people didn't really like it. It's become something that a lot of people have enjoyed. I've enjoyed. And I think that this is the same thing with the Cup, where these players are taking it serious. And now all of a sudden you're realizing, when you're seeing those crazy colored courts, like, oh, this is a different game. This matters. And the play is reflecting that matters.
And in years 1 and 2, it wasn't some abnormality what happened. You know, contending teams were in the finals. Or, you know, that Pacers squad was really young. Year and a half later, they were in the finals. You know, it was a sort of good reference point. But this is really cool. This is when they unveiled the trophy for the very first time. So 3 summers ago, was that 2022? They had Vegas sized it up. They had the Jabberwockies on hand for the reveal. This was before Wembanyama ever played an NBA season game, and he was, the belle of the ball kind of, and they unveiled this thing. And ever since, I'm a fan of the cup. I think it's interesting. And the story I tell about it is, imagine this was here 10, 15 years ago. Say it was here 2010, 2009.
Yeah.
East meets West. And let's just say the Lakers and Cavaliers won in 2009. You're telling me that NBA Cup championship game between LeBron and Kobe in their primes wouldn't have been must-see stuff or something that's pretty memorable? I think it prevents something different, and this league hasn't been afraid of trying things. Let's go ahead and check out the knockout round bracket.